Welcome back to Okaloosa Today on Cox. I'm Doug Rayner with the City of Destin's update for the show. Today I'm joined by Mayor Sam Seevers and City Manager Maryann Ustick to talk about something that's been going on recently with the City Council and staff, and that's the visioning session for the city and getting ready for the budget season, which we're actually in. So Sam and Maryann, thank you for joining me.
It's a pleasure.
Thank you.
Thrilled to be here. Thank you.
Good. It's always good to have familiar faces on the show who enjoy being here. One thing we'd like to do today is talk about the recent visioning session that the council had, because our staff works closely with the city manager. City manager works closely with the council to create a budget, but that is based on a vision that the city council puts together. And we recently went through that, of course, every year. But Sam, tell us how the council comes about getting to the point through the visioning session.
Well, first of all, historically, at least the last 12 years that I've been doing it, we have a visioning session every April. It's usually a whole, day, and it is truly the only opportunity where the city council can sit down and discuss where we're going with the city, talk about some budget things that are going on at the time, what our revenue looks like, and sincerely try to put together a project list, so that we can form a budget and give that information to staff. We set priorities for the next year. We also talk about our 5-year capital improvement project list. And then we still have time, because our budget is actually due October the 1st, that's the beginning of our budget year. And between April and October 1st, it gives the staff a chance to review what the goals and objectives that were set by the City Council during the visioning session. It gives them an opportunity to put all those things together and give the City Council a proposed budget.
Right, and Maryann, that's actually what the staff is doing right now, is taking that vision and putting that into a proposed budget, and we're going to be moving forward with that pretty soon.
Absolutely. Actually, the direction that the council provides us is absolutely critical. We have so many needs in our city, and so this really helps us focus on the key priorities for the next year.
That's right. And speaking of key priorities, you mentioned the 5-year CIP, which is Capital Improvement Plan. We have a 5-year plan, then we have the next year's plan and the next year's plan. So right now we're going to budget for fiscal year 14, starts October 1st, like you said. Let's talk about how we pay for that. As a citizen, they think tax, and they think that that's how the city pays for everything, but it's not exactly true. So Sam, what are some of the ways that the city pays for these improvements and services that everybody has? Well,
first and foremost, property taxes. That's where we get the most of our monies, and that is put into our general fund. Unfortunately, over the last several years, we've seen a decline in that, and it's really hurt our budget quite a bit. So we've had to be really creative with public-private partnerships for funding. We also have other funding sources, such as the gas tax and the sales tax. We also have impact fees. And there can be transportation fees, park fees, public safety fees, etc. And it's really important to note that some of those fees that we have is brought forth by development. And when we put and allocate money into a park fee, it means it has to go to a park in that venue. Also, we try really hard to go after some grants. We have a remarkable grant writer named Lindy Chabot that works for our city, and we are very blessed to have her.
We are.
She does a tremendous job writing grants and searching for grants that'll help the city.
And we're going to probably talk about a grant here in a little while when we talk about funding some of our improvement projects. Maryann, we are actually still in fiscal year 13. Right. We're at the end of it for our purposes, and we have had some projects that we worked on this year and still are in the process of getting done. Talk a little bit about the projects that we had for fiscal year 13.
Oh, I'd be delighted. And actually just wanted to mention that references back to the visioning session in the previous year, where council gave us direction for key priority projects to work on. I'm just going to highlight a few because we have a number of them, but always we do road resurfacing and reconstruction. So we've been focusing on making sure that our roads are safe. And we do sidewalk repair, and also we try to put in some new sidewalks where gaps are missing, and I wanted to highlight a special one on Main Street by our Main Street Park. that is right between Joe's Bayou and Coleman Kelly Lake, because that's really become a point of pride for our community.
It looks great.
It's a beautiful sidewalk. And then we actually have, we're repairing the community center roof, which is really important to preserve that facility for our community. We'll be working on that soon. And we're doing some kind of changes at our library, kind of repurposing some of our space to try to come up with some study rooms for our youth, to try to get more teens involved in the library, which is a priority for council. And then some stormwater improvements, which are always important. We actually just finished some this year at the harbor that will help not only address stormwater, but actually improve the quality of water in our harbor.
Right, and you kind of hit it, that if you ride around our town, you see progress always, and it's good that our citizens know that these visioning sessions turn into plans, and they're budgeted for, and some of the things you mentioned are visible. Some of them aren't. Some of the stormwater things people might not see, but I know that we have some stormwater issues throughout the city that we address on a regular basis, and that's also in the 5-year plan and next year's plan and so on. So,
and that was also just recently we experienced an overabundance of rain, and it clearly made it obvious that we need to continue working on the stormwater master plan that the city put in place years ago and complete those projects that were identified in that.
That's right. That's right. Yeah, it made it very obvious, didn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Well, Maryann, did you want to talk about anything else from 13?
The only other one I wanted to mention was our new parking lot in the Harbor District. As you know, we did a major boardwalk project last year, which we're very proud of, and obviously that created some more additional needs for parking, and so we just finished our brand new spanking parking lot at Marler Street and US 98, and I think that's a tremendous success for our city.
And it's good that you mentioned that, because it's actually that parking lot's just not just a parking lot. It falls into a bigger picture of a plan, and that is to have some pedestrian friendly areas of the Harbor District, to get more people there, to provide parking, and it's not just a one-year thing. It's continual, which is what we're going to be talking about today. Proposed projects for fiscal year 14, which again starts on October 1st, so we're in our budget process. We have a long list of things we'd like to do, a long list of things we have to do. We know how much money, we think we know how much money we might have to do it. So you guys have a very tough job. And from a citizen standpoint, just want to thank you guys for what you do and how you manage that. But for proposed projects for 14, let's talk a little bit about those projects. And I think we want to start with the elephant in the room, or in the city really, and that is Noriega Point stabilization. Yep. It's always out there, but we have a plan and we're working through that. So Sam, lead us through that one.
Well, Noriega Point was, of course, one of the top priorities that the City Council had. It is imperative that we stabilize Noriega Point. For one, we have to have the protection for our charter fishing fleets. We've got to assure that all the upland structures are safely provided for. And there's a lot of wave action that's going on right now, and we really need to restore Noriega Point. Some of the funding that we've talked about, and we're very hopeful, is the natural resource damage assessment, which is actually grant funds that were provided by BP after the oil spill. So we have had that application in for about 2 years, and we are very hopeful that we could take advantage of that. We would really like to see Noriega Point done, or at least started this year. We've got plans in place, and the staff's done a tremendous job of getting the designs to the council for their approval. We also did a major dredging project to make sure that our boats could get in and out of the harbor. And we hope that if we stabilize Noriega Point, that we won't have to dredge as often. And it will provide a little bit more area for our public and our citizenry to enjoy some, beach time out there.
Right.
And we hope to restore it back to pre-Opal.
Good. And so for this coming year, we have plans in place to hopefully be approved and to start in that phasing process, right?
And we also we've already got our permits in place, our JCPs, and now we're working diligently with the Army Corps of Engineers to get the secondary permit that we need.
We have a good bit of hope and faith that that'll happen.
This year.
This year, that's right. That's right. Trying to be timely. Maryann, let's go into some more of some of the things that the staff is working on through the council's vision for 14.
Maintaining our existing infrastructure, ensuring quality of life for our citizens is a key council priority, and one of the mayor referenced it as stormwater projects. We have a stormwater master plan. Unfortunately, over the last 5 or 6 years, we haven't had a lot of resources to be able to address those needs. One of the key priorities that we're recommending in our CIP and our capital improvement program is actually to focus on Indian Bayou. And unfortunately, or ironically, there's some coverage that neighborhood took a huge hit during the recent rainfall that we had, and so that's a recommendation that we have to try to upgrade and retrofit that existing stormwater system. We also continually have our roadways that we need to focus on, again, for safety as well as quality of life. And we do both resurfacing of roads. We do major reconstruction for those roads that really need more. They need curb and gutter and some major reconstruction work. And then we have some new roads that we need. And there's obviously a huge need for that. And so we're still working on prioritizing what roads we'll be recommending to the council through the CIP and budget process. But I just wanted to point out we do have a condition rating schedule. So we kind of know what the condition of our roads are, but it's just a matter of trying to fit that into the amount of money that's available.
And I know that we actually will start prioritizing those roads when the budget workshop comes up on August the 26th and through the budget hearings as well. And we'll encourage people to come out to those things. We'll give you those dates in just a few minutes.
We appreciate it. And then the other thing I wanted to mention, which is constantly an issue, is pedestrian safety improvements. A key priority for the city. It comes up in our citizen survey all the time, where we're always working very hard to address that issue. And that's a number of things. It's both pathways and sidewalks, which in addition to safety also kind of promote a walkable community, which is really important to our citizens. Also pedestrian crossings in 98, traffic signalization. Those are very important things and key priorities that the council has identified for next year.
And you mentioned earlier the Marler Street parking lot over in the Harbor District. That's one of the biggest areas where we have traffic and where we're trying to get people across the street.
Safely across to the border. And actually that is a key priority as well. Thank you for reminding me.
And so the council's looking to put in some kind of signal or something to get people from north to south, south to north.
And we do have some money in this year's budget. We're doing some preliminary work, but we're probably going to need just additional funding for that, and actually working on a public-private partnership. So it's very exciting.
And I know that FDOT's been doing some studies too, so there's multiple groups working together to make this thing happen.
It's a key issue for everybody, and we've actually appreciated all the support we've gotten from FDOT.
Mm-hmm. What else do we have on this in store for 14 preliminarily that we're talking about?
Well, there's always the issue of technology, and most cities have had this problem over the last 5 or 6 years. We haven't been able to have the funds to replace our servers and our computer systems. And it's really important to our citizens that we find ways to work smarter. I mean, our website has been a tremendous success, but we need to have the backbone to support that. Our computer systems are getting old, and expectations are really strong that we respond quickly. And so we really need to invest in our technology systems to make sure that we're working smarter and providing good customer service.
Well, this is a daunting process to put together a budget, a shoestring budget almost, for all the things that need to happen in the city. And we just touched on just very lightly some of the major areas that the city works on. From a council point, from a staff point, it's just really tough. And to see that, we hope that our citizens understand just how hard that is and how hard you guys work to make that happen. So thank you from a staff person, thank you from a citizen. We just appreciate that very much.
Yep.
Thank you.
We have a little more time, and Sam, I wanted to ask you, just in general, where do you see the city going next year, FY14? You're our mayor, you're our strong person, so you have a positive outlook. What do you see for 14?
Well, I know we can accomplish a lot of the things that we just talked about. I know we can. It's going to be difficult. I mean, let's face it, when we got the numbers back and we thought that the property tax rates would be a little bit higher, and it wasn't, and that was kind of a blow, and but we'll get through that and we'll manage. I'd put our staff up against anyone, including the federal government, about balancing a budget and knowing how to do it and knowing how to be creative. Some people have come up with ways within our organization where they come up with creative ideas. Some of our staff members are working in 2 different departments at times, trying to make sure we get the most out of the dollars that we have. And it is so appreciated from a council perspective, the hard work that the staff is doing, and we're just really, really proud of them.
Well, thank you very much. And Maryann, you are the staff. You see this on a daily basis. So again, I'll kind of pose it to you. You know, from a staff person, how do you see us going in the next year?
Well, as the mayor said, the staff is doing an amazing job of moving the city forward, even though we have very lean resources. We have the council has some tough decisions to make, but I think that given the vision and kind of focusing on priorities, it helps us kind of focus the resources that we have on achieving the vision for the city. But I do want to encourage again our citizens to give us their input. It's very important that what we're doing is responsive to their needs, so that we're actually focusing on improving the quality of life of the people who live here.
That's right, and that's what it's all about, Sam. That's kind of your mantra, and we all
Absolutely.
appreciate that very much.
Yep. And I think if I can add this, it's really, really important for us to capitalize on the public-private partnerships. That is exactly how we got the dog park built in Destin. Everyone said we couldn't do it because it was a little bit expensive. Group came together, they went out, they bagged groceries, they did everything they could. It's amazing what a small group of people can do to make something happen. We matched those dollars at the city level, and now we have truly one of the most visited parks that we've ever had in Destin, right there at the Destin Dog Park. And that came out of a public-private partnership, and so we're really leaning towards that.
That's right, and you know, you kind of nailed it. We are asking for the public's participation in our budget process. Let your council members know what you think, and there are some things that we have going on over the next month and a half that will allow you to be a part of that. So first, we have an August 26th budget workshop at 5:30 in the council chambers at the City Hall Annex, where council will have a chance to sit down and talk about these issues, prioritize even further from what we've been talking about here, and come up with a very good guide for the city staff to put together a budget. So that's August 26th at 5:30 in the City Council chambers at City Hall Annex. Also on September the 3rd, there's a budget hearing at 6 p.m. at the City Hall Annex. That's right next to the dog park and the council chambers. That's part of the regular city council meeting. However, that is one of the largest portions of that meeting. The final budget hearing will be September the 16th at 6 p.m. Again, part of the city council meeting in the City Hall Annex, right there by the dog park. The address is 4100 Indian Bayou Trail. We want to thank Mayor Sam Seevers and Maryann Ustick, our city manager, for being here today. It's always great to talk to you guys, and I think we got some good things going.
Thanks for having us.
Well, thank you so much for allowing us to showcase the City of Destin. You do such a remarkable job in these interviews, and we're just proud to have you. So thank you.
I have good people to work with, and I appreciate it. We want to remind everyone to call City Hall 837-4242 or visit cityofdestin.com. If you have any questions, we're always happy to answer anything you have. Please stay tuned for the next segment of the show with Ted Corcoran in the City of Fort Walton Beach. Thank you.